Everyone, my name is Jakir Brett Westbrook, Business Inclusion Manager with the Office of Business Inclusion and Advancement. I would like to welcome you to the WBE Citizens Advisory Committee meeting being held today, December 17th, 2024. I will start off by calling the roll for our December committee meeting. Chair Money Canyon. Vice Chair Eric Harrison. Committee member Susan Morris.
Here.
Thank you. There is only one committee member present at this meeting this evening, so the meeting will be conducted as an information-only meeting, and I'll turn it over to Zachary Taylor to review the good faith effort for the pre-construction for the parking lot reconstruction project.
All right, so this is, as Jakir said, this is a pre-construction good faith effort review for the parking lot project where Ruston Paving Company Incorporated was the lowest bidder. All right, for this project, the established MWBE project goals are 5% M and 5% W. Ruston, they submitted 3% M and 2% W. All right, so here's a copy of the affidavit D. They use all these subs are certified, so I use these firms here. All right, so for A, get a representative of your company attend a pre-solicitation or pre-bid meeting scheduled by the city to inform MWBE firms of contracting, subcontracting, and supply opportunities, and to review contractor requirements of complying with the program. So here they had a screenshot. They were in attendance for the pre-bid. All right, for letter B, did your company advertise in general circulation, trade association, or minority-focused media concerning subcontracting opportunities? Note, a contractor must advertise in all three mediums to receive full value for this item. There was no supplemental documents for this letter. For letter C, did your company provide written notice to a reasonable number of specific MWBE firms that their interest in the contract is being solicited at least 10 days before bids are due to allow MWBE firms time to participate? Please provide a copy of the solicitations for quotes sent to at least 3 minority firms from the source list provided by the owner of each subcontract to be let under this contract. If 3 or more firms are shown on the source list, each solicitation shall include a specific description of the work to be subcontracted, location where bid documents can be reviewed, name of representative of the prime bidder to contact, and location, date, and time. So for this, they used their solicitation letter. They did send it out on November the 7th, and the bid was on November 26th. So they were within 10 days for that. There's just more to go along with that. All right, for letter D, did you follow up initial solicitation of interest by contacting MWBE firms to determine with certainty whether the MWBE firms are interested? Please include telephone log of follow-up calls you made to confirm interest. So for this, they used their follow-up emails. They reached out and gave reminders to 30 plus subcontractors on the bid date and if they would be interested. This is more reminders that they emailed. All right, for letter E, how did your company identify and select portions of the work to be performed by MWBE firms in order to increase the likelihood of MWBE participation, including where appropriate, breaking down contracts into economically feasible units to facilitate MWBE participation? Please provide a copy of documentation where this information was included. So for E, again, they used their solicitation letter where they had different items. Here, they also had a link for the plans for the subs. They had another Google Drive. So they had all that attached to their solicitation letter. All right, for letter F, explain how you provided interested MWBE firms with equal access to specifications, plans, and requirements of the contract. For F, again, they used their solicitation letter where they had their specs listed here and plans that they had, as I said, the link for the subcontractors to quickly identify their scope of work. All right, for letter G, how have you negotiated fairly with interested MWBE firms, not rejecting MWBE as unqualified without sound reasons based on a thorough investigation of their capabilities? Copy of documentation or response received from each firm responding to the solicitation must be submitted along with the subcontractor quote comparison form. For subcontracts where the minority firm is not the lowest bidder, please provide copies of quotes received from all firms submitting quotes for that particular subcontract. Please provide documentation detailing reasons for rejecting any MWBE firm's bid as unqualified. So here they use the subcontractor quote comparison form. They had it broken down into each different trade. This was all hauling. As you can see here, it was concrete, stone base, landscaping, utility work, striping, and fencing. So they had where they reached out, if they were certified or not, their base quote, and then the comments and conversation that they had with each individual subcontractor. All right, for H, what services were used from the City of Winston-Salem's MWBE office, available minority community organizations, minority contractors groups, local, state, and federal minority business assistance offices, and other organizations that provide assistance in the recruitment and placement of MWBE firms? Please provide a copy of this documentation and note a contractor must utilize at least 2 agencies to receive full value. So for H, they reached out to myself about getting a subcontract list, and that was all they had as far as reaching out. All right, for letter I, how did your company provide assistance to an otherwise qualified minority firms in need of equipment, loan capital, lines of credit, or joint pay agreements to secure loans, supplies, or letters of credit, including waiving credit that is ordinarily required? Did your company assist minority firms in obtaining the same unit pricing with the bidder suppliers in order to help minority firms in establishing credit? Please provide a copy of any documentation. This could be included in the solicitation letter and or evidence of implementation from previous projects in the past 5 years advising MWBE firms what type of assistance was available. Note, a contractor can receive up to 10 points for offering and 10 points for implementation. So here they use their solicitation letter, and I highlighted where they mentioned their joint check agreements. And there was no implementation for this letter. So this was just the offer. All right, for letter J, how did your company provide assistance in obtaining required bonding or insurance or providing alternatives to bonding or insurance for subcontracting? Provide a copy of any documentation. This could be included in solicitation letter and or evidence of implementation from previous projects in the past 5 years advising MWBE firms what type of assistance was available. A contractor can receive up to 10 points for offering and 15 points for implementation. So here again, they when they had lettered this out, they said that the solicitation letter will be used for J as well. Although there is nothing that we saw that mentioned bonding. So although this is here, it wasn't, I guess, plainly written out about the offering of bonding and, required insurance. So, but they did, I think they kind of were confused as far as the bond. They kind of used previous bond that they had, that they were using with work with us in 2020, but it's not exactly what we're asking for when it comes to implementation on bonding. So this is what they use, their payment bond. All right, so for letter K, did your company negotiate a joint venture or partnership arrangement with minority firms to increase opportunities for minority participation when possible? Please provide a copy of any documentation. This could be included in solicitation letter advising MWBE firms what type of assistance was available or outlining any other steps taken to fulfill this requirement. There was nothing offered here, or there was no implementation for K. And for L, did your company provide quick pay agreements and policies to enable minority contractors and suppliers to meet cash flow demands? What procedures were initiated to fulfill this requirement, and how were the MWBE firms informed of this assistance? Evidence of implementation from previous projects in the past 5 years can be submitted. Note, a contractor can receive up to 5 points for offering and 10 points for implementation. Here, they use their solicitation letter, and I highlighted where they mentioned quick pay. There was no implementation for this letter. And that's all. Susan, do you have any questions or any slide that I may need to go back to?
I just want to be sure on number 10, letter J, that the bond paperwork that they provided was from 2020 and not from this. I'm not sure I understand.
So the pretty much what they use, and Jakira, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they use a performance bond that they had with us back on a project from 2020, and not necessarily they didn't necessarily provide us like an example of bonding that they've used with a subcontractor in the past 5 years, as far as like helping a subcontractor obtain that.
Okay.
And
Thank
to
you.
add for clarification, they also may sometimes waive the bonding for MWB subcontractors. But yeah, that's their bond that they would provide as the general contractor to the city of Winston-Salem.
Okay, so that would count towards the offering, but not towards the implementation.
They did not offer that bonding. That is the contractor Reston Paving's performance bond. So like a payment and performance bond are required by general contractors when they submit their bid packages for a responsive bid to the city of Winston-Salem. But
Gotcha.
that not documentation of them waiving or reducing bonding requirements for MWBE subcontractors.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
That's my only question.
Okay, I'll let the contractor in. Good afternoon, Bryce. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you for joining us this afternoon. The committee member has reviewed the good faith efforts submitted by Rustin Paving for the parking lot reconstruction project. So feel free to add any context to your good faith effort submission, or we can just move to questions if the committee member has any.
I am all set on my end. If y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you. Committee member Morris, do you have any questions?
Hi, Bryce. Yes, this is Susan Morris. I just have one question. One of you had a really good application, but one thing that I noticed that was missing that was advertising in the general circulations, trade associations, and minority-focused media. Did you have an opportunity to do that, or were there any issues with trying to do that?
Yes, fill me in on like what those media is. Is that like a website submission or where would that have been, I guess?
So for example, the minority focused media would be posting your bid advertisement to like the North Carolina historically underutilized business office, or trade associations, if it's like the Hispanic contractors, or just different organizations where MWBE firms could potentially see your bid advertisement for this project.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I guess something along those avenues wasn't done. I know really we've reached out to all the guys we have used in the past, and a lot of the trades for this project didn't really apply. It was kind of really just the trucking, concrete, were the big ones for these ones. So we didn't have a whole lot of people we thought would be, I guess, relevant for those trades, I suppose.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
That's my only question.
Thank you. So with that, thank you, Bryce, for joining us this afternoon. Zach will follow up with you regarding the results of the good faith effort. And then if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to Zachary or myself.
All right, very good. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. So that conducts the review of this good faith effort. Before we conclude, I would just like to double check to make sure, committee member Morris, that you didn't have any additional or follow-up questions for Zachary.
Sorry, no additional questions.
Okay, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Thank you to TV 13. We also have on this call Ken Millett, the Director of the Office of Business Inclusion and Advancement, Sarah Avila, and again, Zachary Taylor. Thank you again for conducting the good faith effort review. Have a great evening.
Have a great night.